welcome back. For our next session, we're delighted to have three members of the leadership team at Kenshoo here to take some of the themes that you've heard about so far this morning, the ideas of being proactive marketers, being able to look forward into the future, see opportunity and seize it in real time, and leverage all the big data and algorithmic modeling that's available to us to help you guys do your jobs better, faster, and stronger. So to put that into context of the Kenshoo product and share some of our vision and also tell you how we operationalize around you as our clients to help you deliver success, we've got Ted Krantz, who's the Chief Revenue Officer for Kenshoo. We've got Will Martin-Gill, who's our Head of Product. And we've got Suzanne Berger, who is our Managing Director for Client Excellence. So I'm going to start by turning it over to Ted and invite you guys to join me in a round of applause. Thank you.
Right on, man. Thanks, buddy. How we doing? Morning go well? All right, I get the unique pleasure of following up after Pablo, so bar set pretty high. We'll do our best to keep up. Before I get started, again, my name, for those of you that don't know me, Ted Krantz. I run revenue here at Kenshoo. Delighted and honored to be in front of the world's most premier marketers, both our direct advertisers and our agencies. Thank you all very much for your support, pushing us as an organization, and want to take an opportunity to introduce a couple of my peers that are going to help me out with the presentation today. First, Will Martin-Gill runs product. Will, you want to stand up, say hello? Right on. And then I also have joining me today Suzanne Berger, who works for me and runs our Client Excellence organization. All right, so here's the agenda. We're going to start with review and a client vignette story. We're going to talk about the product vision and some of the strategic investments that we're making as an organization. And then what we're doing to partner with you for value and success collectively in terms of your feedback and helping drive our innovation and leadership position in the market. So I wanted to kind of set the stage for both Will and Suzanne. And going back to Yoav's presentation, kind of the blend between art and science. Right? A little bit of the paintbrush and the lab coat approach. We may need ABAD, and we may need Sammy and the team to help pull this off. This environment is getting incredibly complex. I participated in the customer advisory board that we had yesterday, and we also have one for agencies tomorrow. And a lot of these same topics came up for discussion in terms of where this marketplace is going. And for me, looking back and trying to be a student of the evolution of this industry, one of the things that really resonates with me is if you even look at where TV was 30 years ago. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC, right? Then there was this evolution of cable, and you had 30, 40 type channels. Now you've got satellite, and you've got digital. You have thousands of channels to pick from. This same type of evolution is going to follow in terms of the digital landscape. Pure play bet on Google, on Facebook, on Twitter, some of these channels that are emerging early, it's just the beginning. And I think what it opens up is an opportunity to really look at how you're going to manage all of this, right? If you look at first-party tech, if you look at point solution to try to drive your marketing excellence as an organization with the proliferation of all these different channels, it's going to be incredibly arduous and tough to pull off. You've got to look for ways of reducing your solutions architecture and infrastructure, get more targeted and strategic with fewer partners to pull off the consolidation of what's going on in the marketplace. So we are definitely putting ourselves out there, Kenshoo, as the evolution beyond ad tech, beyond tools, to building what we believe to be the first enterprise-class software platform to power marketers. That's our charter. We're investing heavily in the application environment, in the build-out of the functional applications, but it's no mystery that we can't take it all on at once, where everything seems a bit of a priority right now. It's a little bit of a defocused landscape. And I wanted to give a few examples of that. One is the idea of audiences, right? Yoav talked about intent-driven audiences in our leadership position and taking a value proposition to the market around audiences. Audiences kind of reinvented and increased the sex appeal of display as an opportunity for marketers to look creatively at new customer acquisition, perhaps, as an angle that is much more sophisticated than traditional display kind of spray and pray mechanics and just blasting in an eyeballs approach, taking light profiles of individual customers. Ted Krantz, 47, lives in San Francisco. Let me find like demographics, like buying patterns, and target these people and perhaps get a much better return on my investment. The other dynamic as well is that performance marketing. We talked a lot about the evolution of Kenshoo over time and consumer intent. You have talked about that. Now the exploitation of tools like Facebook and the type of information that we can get out of those channels. But performance marketing is now lending itself to a much broader value proposition than just the conversion itself. It's the entire funnel management process. Reach, frequency, metrics like lifetime value will come into play. Marketers have to get much more holistic about managing both the top of the funnel as well as the bottom of the funnel. So audiences is something that we're very focused on from a value prop perspective. Another phenomenon that I want to talk briefly about too is mobile. Right? We talked about mobile and how much mobile really changes the dynamic of the marketplace. Right? Keywords become less relevant. People don't go out to Google. They go within their application that's already installed on their phone. How will that change how we think and act as marketers with that phenomena only growing? Another one, attribution. We've got to start with attribution, smart path, but attribution is a very complex problem. Now I'm not talking just simply about the report output that you get from systems and then taking historical data and are you acting fast enough to really have actionable input on that drives performance. Real-time tools require the normalization of the data, making sure that the data is all in one common infrastructure so that you can actually optimize on it. These are big challenges that we face in terms of the technology we're building as the first enterprise-class software provider in this space. And these type of things that we're focused on, these are just a couple of examples. That's more of the science approach to what we're building on the application side. But part of our charter to make you successful is not just the technology and the product, it's also our support organization. So I've recently brought Suzanne into the organization. You'll get a feel for her persona. Most of you will have the opportunity to meet her at some point in the field. She comes from Salesforce. We want to invest heavily in our client services organization to really make sure that we're delivering a holistic Kenshoo experience to you, but never compromising the subject matter expertise of each of the individual disciplines. So that when you call us and you talk to somebody on the phone, you're getting deep, rich content, and somebody on the other end of the phone that's really going to help you exploit the technology advantages for competitive differentiation in your marketplace. So that is my opening. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Will. Will, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
You bet.
So having been in your seat as an advertiser not too long ago, I know a lot of the things that Ted was talking about resonate with me, and hopefully they do with you as well. I want to zero in on one of them, and it was Jim Lazinski of Google in 2011 that talked about the zero moment of truth. And as he was describing it back then, it was all about that moment when somebody discovers that they have a need for something, or they have a question, or they need to proactively do something. And the point was that you as an advertiser, as a marketer, need to make sure that you're there in the moment that matters. He actually published an article about a month ago that went a little bit deeper into saying that the zero moment of truth actually matters more than ever. And his point was that, first of all, it's very important to be optimized, but that the number of opportunities for that are increasing, because as people start to use mobile more and more, you need to be optimized and make sure that you're there as well. Our own distinguished CMO, Aaron Goldman, also published another article last month talking in Search Insider about the fact that it's not just Google that has these moments of truth. Amazon and other e-commerce players are vying for that first chance to get people when they're starting a commerce query. Facebook and the social networks are there, and I don't know when the last time I went in to check my Facebook feed and I didn't see somebody that was asking for restaurant advice or the best place to go to from a travel perspective. So we've evolved from the zero moment of truth to all moments of truth, and the key is to make sure that you optimize and are there when it matters so that you can take advantage of it. And if you've had a product discussion with us very, very recently, you may have seen a little bit of this data, but it was published by Mary Meeker. She's a partner with Kleiner Perkins. She's been publishing for the last 10 years studies about the evolution of the internet. Super interesting. Actually, the one that came out this year is one of the most interesting I've seen lately. And one of the graphs that she published was this one. It was all about the average revenue per user of various different channels. She estimated it for Google, and then Facebook and Twitter actually put it out there. And what's interesting is, first of all, the point is this is how much you, as an advertising community, find that each user in these channels is worth and how much you're willing to pay for it. One of the most obvious points is that Google is still at the top of this list. And at about $45 per user is about 6x what Facebook is, about 15x what Twitter is. But if you look a little bit at the story that's emerging, you see that Facebook and Twitter are both growing at a very, very fast rate, and that they're starting to become much more relevant by the dollars that you're voting with in terms of actually getting to customers and doing something about them. And so then the question is why? What is it that's making these channels more relevant over time, and what is it that you as marketers can be doing to take advantage of that? And we really think about it in two different axes. One is just channel sophistication. We know that as these channels are getting more and more advanced, that they start to figure things out. Facebook alone had over 40 different ad types, and 18 months ago, and they've consolidated that to just over a dozen. And in the process have gotten a lot better at driving direct response marketing than ever before. We also think there's another axis, which is as these channels start to become about more than just serendipity and kind of browsing in certain moments, as things like intent data and as direct response become more relevant in these channels, they start to become more valuable to you, and you start to take more and more advantage of it. So then the next question is, okay, so what happens? As these channels grow, do you end up taking money away from Google and some of the channels that you historically have been investing in, or does it mean that the pie grows for everyone? And the reality is that we've seen some interesting data come out. And one of it was a study that we published with Sears at the end of last year. And this study, which was actually quoted by Sheryl Sandberg in one of the Facebook earnings calls last year, was all about comparing people that had been exposed to both a social and a search campaign compared to folks that had just seen search campaigns. And what it said is basically folks that had seen both and had benefited from an advertiser who was optimizing for both were actually more effective and came back and did more in search alone, to the tune of actually increasing average order value by about 25%, increasing click-through rate, and overall increasing ROI. We just published another study in Q2 of this year with Experian this time, and it confirmed more of the same conclusion, which is that with smart social and search campaigns, you ended up increasing conversions, decreasing the cost per acquisition, and overall increasing the ROI of those channels. And so it starts to set the stage for our product strategy and where we're focusing as a company going forward. And first and foremost, Ted talked about it, it's about the customer. As a performance marketing industry, we've been focused so much on optimizing keywords, on optimizing ad units, on optimizing a lot of these different things. Let's see if we can get this back. The reality is that at the center of it all, customers are what is very, very important. And not just customers on the desktop, but also customers on the mobile devices. The other piece of it is that an increasing number of both searches as well as the activity that folks have in each of these marketing channels is local. And whatever solution that you need needs to be local in nature and solve for local. Do we have a way to get the screen back up? Because I can talk all day. But it's nicer if you have pictures to go along with it. Here we go. Perfect, thank you. As you complete the picture, and as you focus on the customer, the channels still end up mattering more than ever. And the biggest opportunities for you in the short and the medium term to increase the effectiveness of the dollars that you're spending online continues to be by having excellent channel management capabilities and best-in-class software to help you manage. And then the glue between these channels becomes more and more important. And the difference really being that when a lot of people talk about channel integration and the stack, they talk about reporting as being the main benefit. You want to see the numbers side by side. You want to see tracking in one place. And both of those things are extremely important, and we're working on those too, and we're delivering a lot of capabilities on those. But increasingly, it's about making what's making you successful in one channel actually help make you successful in other channels and bring more and more of the data to complete the picture and to make you more successful overall. So best-in-class channels, best-in-class fusion between the channels, and then what Yoav was talking about this morning, which is capabilities that start to help you understand how these channels are performing in relation to each other, and if you have extra dollars, where should you put them? Where should you take them away from? That's where Halogen starts to give you very significant capabilities, and as you look at where we're going to invest in the next year or two, we want to double down on giving those capabilities for you, not just in search, but in other channels. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that works. Now, one of the best things about working at Kenshoo is that we have some of the best customers in the industry, and I'm not just saying that. It is really about two things. One is we do have some of the best thought leaders in this room that I've worked with as our customers, and then you take our phone calls and you're willing to jump in with us all the time to help us understand what's important to you and how we should be evolving. And you've kept us really busy in 2014. So we've released in the 8 months of the year so far about 130 individual features across search, social, mobile, local, and predictive optimization. And we're not going to get a chance today to talk through all of them, but what I do want to do is give you a little bit of a flavor for some of the big themes in each of these and start to give you a glimpse also at the end of where we're going from here. So let's start with search. In search, really, it's been two big things that when we talk to you, you tell us that we need to focus on. The first is to make your team more efficient, and usually that comes in the form of saying you need to keep investing in your UI. You need to make the way that our folks are using your interface even easier. You need to invest in reporting and make sure that the data that we need is at folks' fingertips. The second is that Google and the other search engines don't stop in terms of their innovation. Last year, it was enhanced campaigns. This year, it's shopping campaigns, enhanced site links, and a bunch of other things that they're doing to evolve the way that you do search marketing. So you're asking us to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to that. And then another piece that, at Kenshoo, we focus a lot on innovation and giving you tools that help you compete unfairly out there in the marketplace. And we're going to continue to invest in those, and I'll show you one of them here, but they're front and center of what we're doing. For the first, hopefully by now, either yourselves or your teams have been using our new analysis capability. One of the pieces of feedback that we got in many product sessions last year was, listen, we need to centralize all the data that is available in different screens out there, from advanced search to the reporting suite to everything. We need it online, and we need it very easy to interact with. And so we've been working on this new analysis capability that makes it a lot easier to do a number of things for the first time. First of all, see all your keywords in one place, regardless of what ad group or campaign they're in. Second, there's some powerful filtering capabilities that you can start to narrow down keywords and then take action on those keywords right from the screen without having to go anywhere else. And third, there's actually capabilities of drilling into some of these keywords and being able to look at history and do things with them. So we believe that over time, as we continue to invest in this, it will become a central hub for your teams to be more efficient about the way that they're managing, seeing data, and actioning on your campaigns. In terms of the features from search engines that keep coming up, 2 years ago, we were the first platform out there to provide a full product listing ad solution. And a company called Jeffries did some independent analysis to just look at product listing ads and who was serving most of them. At that time, we came out at the top of the list in terms of the most ads that we were showing. Fast forward to 18 months, the latest report that they showed in March of this year continues to show that we deliver, help you, our clients, deliver the most product listing ads in the industry. And that includes the transition that we just made this year to shopping campaigns. It's a whole new way of managing your product listing ads. It required us to change not only the way that you're managing them, but also the back end, how the data is structured. And in addition to supporting everything that you were using in product listing ads, we're also introducing new things that weren't available in our past PLA solution, like portfolio bidding. And it's interesting because these ads behave completely differently than ads that we've had in the past. They don't have a position, for example. And so we've had to modify and adapt the algorithms, and we have specialized algorithms that are helping some advertisers do some very, very good things with this. The first is really go in there and improve bidding. And so Check and Marketing is a great partner and a great client of ours. They've been working with clients to put them on our specialized PLA bidding policy, and the results are here on the right-hand side. A significant increase in the conversion rate, significant increase in conversions, and as a result, overall, very, very nice boost in ROI. And I think they're representative for a lot of the success that our advertisers are finding in this solution. It's also very important, as I said, for us to give you tools for competitive advantage. And one of the areas, we've been focused a lot as an industry in giving you better and better bidding tools. And helping you be more efficient at how you bid. We also think there's a benefit to helping you optimize your structure of the campaigns in a more effective way. And how you structure your campaigns, your ad groups, actually affects your quality score. It affects your click-through rates. And we believe that there are analyses and things that we can provide to you to make you more efficient. One of those that we released a few months ago was the cannibalization report. And it essentially shows you where you have keywords in multiple different campaigns and ad groups that are competing against each other and make you less efficient. It used to be analysis that our research team would do on a one-off basis. If somebody really wanted to do this or we were very deep, we would look into it. We now have productized it, and we now have made it available to you as a report that you can take advantage of and start to action on. And we're having some nice insights that are coming out for a lot of advertisers around this. So let's talk about social. A lot of investment here. Again, if we think about some of the themes that are very important to us, the first is to stay on the edge. It's even more important in social than it is in search because it's such a nascent channel and it's still undergoing a ton of evolution. So we want to make sure that we're there in terms of empowering you on some of the new things that Facebook is putting out there. The second is analyzing and optimizing. One of the most challenging things we hear from you about doing Facebook marketing is actually doing it at scale. How do I figure out what audiences are working? How do I figure out what ad types and what actual creatives are working? We want to empower and give you more data in one place to make those determinations and to then do something about it. And then we know that Facebook is not the only social platform out there. We think that you need to be on multiple platforms, and we'll talk about what we've already done, as well later on in the presentation about more things that we're doing today. One of the ways that we partner with Facebook to actually keep you ahead of the competitions, to participate in some of the betas and some of the things that are only available to a small select number of preferred marketing developers. Multi-link product ads is one of those things, and we've been working with a small group of advertisers on these. They basically are a new ad type that allows you to put multiple images in one single ad unit. And we've just had some phenomenal success in that. The ad format looks very, very good on mobile as well, so that's what folks are seeing. And one major apparel retailer actually has seen some nice bump in ROI from getting in there and using these. We just released this year, a few months ago, an analysis function for social. And so you can now start seeing and dicing the data in a number of different ways, by creative type, within a creative, by age group, by any other data point that we have for those ads. You can start to see what's working and what's not working so that you can actually make some some changes right there and increasing actionable reporting. And we're introducing support for Twitter. Now, we announced actually that we started working with Twitter at the end of last year. That solution was a managed services solution. It was limited in nature with a few advertisers that wanted to start getting in there. We now are launching this month full support for Twitter, which will now give you all of the capabilities to actually be able to manage your advertising there. Now, although the clients that have called out this as important have been agencies and some of the branding advertisers, we think over time more and more direct response advertisers are jumping onto Twitter. And in fact, we're starting to see some nice returns of folks that are optimizing for it. At the end of the day, the similarities between Twitter and search are even closer than other channels, because in Twitter it's all about specific keywords also that are very, very important. Let's talk about mobile. We're approaching mobile in a dedicated and differentiated way. We actually have a specialized product team that is focused on only mobile. We have an engineering team that is looking to make you best in class at doing mobile advertising. And I'll start with an interesting stat, which is, I get asked sometimes, what are the channels that matter most in mobile? Because mobile as a whole, most folks would not describe as a channel, and that's right. It's a part of each and every one of the things that we do. And what we've seen is that although mobile has grown an incredible amount, over 2/3 of mobile continues to be ad inventory on Google and on Facebook. And there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, because Facebook continues to grow so darn fast, over 150% year over year in mobile. But there's also more and more relevancy that comes with it. So we're positioned in the channels we're already working with you to be a big, big part of the mobile solution that we have, and we're looking at the other piece to see if there are interesting ad networks that are out there that we need to support you on. But what we hear from you is that there are some pretty unique challenges to mobile that you need help on. First of all, there's new ad types in both Facebook and in search that you need us to support so that you can maximize acquiring these customers. Second is that it doesn't just matter about customer acquisition. You want to know how those customers are doing over time, and you want to be able to track them from browser to app and from the mobile device to the desktop. And so we're focused on trying to do that better and better. One of the ways is that we introduced this year support for mobile app ads in search. It's a new ad type that Google released, and it actually behaves a little bit like product listing ads in the sense that it allows you to put an icon of your app inside the ad, and so it becomes a more visually engaging ad, and the click-through rates are better. So we're supporting it. We've also supported for some time now, but we continue to improve the support of mobile app ads on the Facebook side, which tend to work extremely well for a number of advertisers out there. The other insight that we found, there's actually 2 studies that got published separately that say that 90% of the apps in Apple and 90% of the apps in the Android store are freemium apps, which means it's free download and they're making most of the money or getting most of the value by what people are actually doing inside those apps. And it turns out that the lifetime value of users that download the apps can vary a lot by audience. And so what we've been doing is making sure that we have a tracking solution to get you all the way from where people are clicking on the ads, downloading them, but then seeing what they're doing in those apps afterwards. And we've got a couple different technologies to be able to do that. We have our own software developer toolkit that you can put into your app, and it's a small piece of code that allows us to track end-to-end that evolution. We have it for social today, and we're working on it for the search side with some of the changes that Google has currently made that make this possible. We also work with Facebook's SDK that does some of the same capabilities. And as of the last few months, we've continued to increase the number of third-party partners that we partner with to do the same thing. So you see a lot of names up here. We now have a client live with each of these, in some cases a number of clients live. And if you're not doing this today, I would highly, highly recommend that you find out more about it and start to take advantage of getting a holistic picture of the folks that you're doing mobile advertising to. And we'll talk about audiences. One of the hardest things about audiences as you move away from keywords and as you move away from optimizing for ad placements is really defining an audience. And in the past, it's been pretty challenging because the data available to you is not all that good. You have some first-party data that you're probably collecting in your own application. You have some third-party data that you may have bought from one of the DMPs or from somebody else out there. But at the end of the day, the audiences that you come up with are, in many cases, you've told us, pretty open-ended and not specific enough for you to be able to do something with it. Now, what's interesting is that when you start to think about other sources of data that you can use to define these audiences, intent, what people have told you that they want to do because they've searched for something, starts to become much, much more important over time. And it has started to become one of the ways that we think we can help you optimize to target audiences and paint a bigger and better picture of how audiences work than anything else. We've been hard at work in the last 18 months on this strategy. And part of it has been creating the connection between search and display. We know that if you can take your search data, what people have searched for, and introduce that into the way that you're doing display advertising, you can significantly increase the results of your display advertising. And so we've built partnerships with Turn, X+1, Aggregate Knowledge, BlueKai, to allow you to port that data and use it elsewhere. And we now have a number of customers that are starting to use this capability. On the search and social side, the opportunities turn even more exciting and better. And Yoav talked a little bit about some of these opportunities earlier, and I'll talk about Kenshoo intent-driven audiences here in a second. But we've been supporting Facebook Exchange since last year, and a lot of advertisers are actually taking advantage of that, and we're porting search intent data into that and helping you be smarter about the way that you're doing it. How many folks here have either heard about intent-driven audiences or actively using them today? Right, about 40% of the audience. Let me talk to you about the concept. The idea was fairly straightforward. It was about 10 months ago, and we were talking to Facebook. We have a great partnership there, and we're in there quite a bit and brainstorming together. And we said, for Facebook, custom audiences is actually something for any of you that are doing social advertising. I'm sure that you're using custom audiences, or you should be. And the way that custom audiences are typically defined, or the way that most advertisers are defining them, are by using pixels, putting a pixel on your web page, and then having people that land on particular pages be part of an audience. We thought, what if there was a way to take search data and what people have searched for and start to create audiences in Facebook based on what folks have searched for? It seems like a fairly straightforward thing to do, but actually there was no technology 10 months ago to enable people to do this. We worked with Facebook to be able to do it, and they actually assigned an engineering team just for us. And the concept that we came up with is fairly straightforward. The way it works is that somebody searches on Google, and they come up with one of the ads that you have. When they click on that ad, we match the cookies in the back end between that click and Facebook. And then that user gets added to an audience in Facebook that you can then start to target. So if somebody's searched for tennis rackets, all of a sudden you can create an audience in Facebook that's all about tennis rackets. And we have a lot of flexibility, actually, in how you can create those audiences. So it doesn't have to be just individual keywords. You can use ad groups, or you can use campaigns, or anybody that has clicked on a keyword in this campaign, you can actually start to target as an audience. And what becomes really, really powerful is that you can then layer on Facebook's data to get even more precise about the way that you're targeting these campaigns. And so there is no website in the world that has more interesting data that people have volunteered to it than Facebook out there. And so they're able to put demographic information, gender information, likes and interests. They can use all of that and make it available to you to further define within tennis rackets, for example, let me get to a very specific demographic and make it work. In addition, Facebook has one of the best lookalike audience creation systems that are out there. There's some other folks out there that have built that data from third-party data that they gather around the web, and there's some interesting solutions as well. But with Facebook, again, because people volunteer so much information to Facebook, it has become very, very powerful. And in fact, we have a number of advertisers that are now on our intent-driven audiences solution that are going through creating, let's say, an audience about people that have searched for tennis rackets. They look for lookalikes of other people that look like those folks. And the lookalike audiences are performing in many cases better, and in many cases just as good, and in some cases better than the original customers that came in and searched for those audiences. So really, really powerful solution, and actually we're starting to have some case studies come out about the effect that this data brought into Facebook can have in terms of really increasing the performance of your social marketing campaigns. For Tickets Now, that meant a 2x boost in the ROI, and we're seeing this across retail, across a number of different verticals, where if you haven't talked to us yet about our capabilities here and how you can take advantage of it, let's make sure, I'd love to make sure that that is a follow-up from this event. And then I'll cap the work that we've done in 2014 with predictive media optimization. And I won't spend a ton of time on it because Yoav already talked about it a little bit earlier, but last year on this stage, we were talking about a beta that we were just launching at the time. And it was a beta around halogen. And I'm very, very happy to say that our forecasting capabilities and this capability of helping you understand when you get that call from the CEO or from the CMO that says, hey, I have $200,000 extra dollars. What can you do with it? Where do I put it? What campaigns should I invest in? What can I get in return because of what we're spending? We can actually give you models that help start predict, depending on where you are spending today, what we think the return is going to be, and then help you manage to a specific budget target. We had a very successful beta with about a dozen advertisers. We then went general availability with this about 3 or 4 months ago. And the adoption rate you're starting to see right there. In 3 months, almost a quarter of eligible spend is going through this system, and an increasing number of the overall portfolios. So if you haven't used this yet, encourage you to have a conversation with us about how it may make sense in your system. There's a certain amount of data that is needed in order for us to do forecasting and other capabilities, but certainly it is a system that a lot of our advertisers can take advantage of. One of those advertisers was Travelodge, and actually they have been working to use all of Halogen's capabilities, the ability to forecast at a profile level, the ability to optimize to a certain budget, and as a result, the amount of revenue that they're actually getting out of the system when combined with our bidding policies has significantly increased. And the amount of time that they have to spend in the system actually managing to a budget, increasing and decreasing bids, has significantly decreased over time. So very excited over time about what this can do to the way that you're managing campaigns. There's much more. There's no way to cover it all, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of a taste, and you can work with your client partners to get a full download and make sure that your teams are using some of the latest of what we've done. I'll talk a little bit about where we're going next, and it'll be just 2 or 3 things, so we can go deeper in a product roadmap in an off-line kind of way, but I want to give you a flavor of it. First is continuing to increase in what you tell us matters to you, which is making your teams more efficient. UI, reporting, that'll be a big area of focus for us in the coming 12 months. Audience management and the ability to start managing audiences as entities is very important. And then starting to think more and more about what other channels do we need to support and do you need to be using to make the advertising that you do more effective. And so let me talk about each of those. In Analysis Grid, we're going to continue to invest in giving all the data that you need to your teams very, very easily. And so you'll see an even more redesigned interface, as well as more capabilities that will allow us to completely sunset the old grids and make this the new place that you go and interact with. We're redesigning advanced search. Advanced search is also something that your teams are using a lot, and we've heard a lot of feedback that it is that it can be even better laid out in terms of what they're using. And so this is a quick screenshot of one of the latest concepts of what will be coming out as an upgrade to that interface and the people that are using it. And then we're going to be investing in reporting and in coming up with new ways of both organizing the Fusion reports and all of the reports that you have in your system, as well as creating templates and helping you get those in an easier way. So this is a quick screenshot of one concept that is being considered, but this is a big area of focus for us. For audiences, I mentioned that especially in Facebook, but really increasingly overall, managing audiences as a unit is more important than ever. And so one of the concepts that we're looking into introducing is on Facebook actually starting to help you look at all these audiences that you're creating, seeing the performance of those audiences by clicks, by other data that we have that we can show you back, and let you actually action on them directly in the interface. We think we can give you significantly more capabilities than what's in Facebook today, and you'll be seeing more of that, and we'll be looking for design partners as we're developing this very, very soon. The other piece that we're working on is to really think about what other channels and what other pieces of data can be very, very relevant about helping you create a complete picture of a customer. And what's very, very clear, and hope it's clear in the conversation we've had, is that intent is one of the biggest ways to do that. The engagement that people have through channels like Facebook and Twitter is also very rich in the amount of data that it can give you. We also know that sites like Pinterest, though, are where people are starting to go to share their passions, and that there is a lot of information that people are actually sharing with Pinterest that, if harnessed the right way, can really help take advertisers to the next level. And so we want to bring all three of these together now and start to help you understand how Pinterest can be a bigger part of your marketing optimization. And so we want to give you a sneak peek of something that we'll be announcing over the next couple of weeks, which is an expanded partnership with our great partners, Datapop. And essentially, it'll work like this. We are going to combine the data that we have from product listing ads, and that means both data that we get from Google as well as performance data that we have from working with you as an advertiser, with data that Datapop is getting from Pinterest. And with those two, we can start to create a couple of things. The first is an opportunity report. Today, there was a report that we actually released about 3 weeks ago. It's on our website. You can take a look at it. I highly encourage you to see it if you didn't see it. But it actually showed that there are a number of companies that have products that perform really, really well in Pinterest. These are products that people have gotten so passionate about that they're talking about them, that they're sharing them, they're pinning them in Pinterest, that are nowhere in terms of the performance that they have in product listing ads. And that could be for a number of reasons. They're not bidding them up high enough. They're not optimizing the creative. They're not optimizing the text for those ads. And so there's an opportunity here, if customers are voting by their Pinterest actions on it, there's an opportunity for you to know where, as you optimize your shopping campaigns, you need to spend your time. And vice versa. If there are products that are performing extremely well for you in product listing ads, today hopefully you're using our capabilities in demand-driven campaigns so that you can turn them into Facebook ads very, very easily. But wouldn't it be powerful if you could also take that intel and make sure that those products are appearing in Pinterest in a very high position, and that your customers have a chance to interact with them in that setting? And so for that, we're also introducing, and Datapop has the capability to create rich pins based on this information. And for those that haven't really spent too much time in Pinterest, rich pins are one of the first ways that Pinterest has evolved the way that products are put on Pinterest, that allows you to add interesting and relevant information to pins like pricing and availability and other data. And as you introduce those pieces of data into your pins, folks actually get more information about where they can go to buy them. You can also in Pinterest sign up to receive updates for these pins. So if somebody sees a product that they really love and they say, email me, they can get an update if the price drops or if anything changes about that pin. And so we believe that this can be a very, very sticky way for us to work together. This partnership today is unique in the industry. Pinterest does not have API access yet, so we don't yet have the capabilities to bring all that activity into Kenshoo and for you to see it side by side. We're going to be watching them closely. In the meantime, we think that this capability is going to be very, very powerful in making sure you're discovered through Pinterest, in making sure that you can engage your audience based on things that you're doing to change, and in being informed about opportunities that are coming up and that are out there to it. And so I'll end where I started, which is first to say that, again, there's no way to go through all of the things that are going on, and hopefully you're leaning on your client partners to help explain all of the things that we're doing and to help make sure that you're understanding how the technology that we're producing with your input can help you solve some of the biggest problems, some of the biggest opportunities that the best-in-class marketers believe are out there. And then that each of these pieces is extremely important. Putting the customers in the middle and making sure that you're optimizing for both mobile and local is at the center of it all. Making sure that you have solutions within each of the channels that are best in class and where we're not providing a solution, or whether you need it, that you're using, and that we're integrating with some of the platforms in display or in these other networks that you're doing. And then that the glue, that the fusion between these channels ends up being as powerful as possible. And hopefully through demand-driven campaigns, through what we just walked through in Pinterest, through intent-driven audiences, you are seeing that the synergy between these channels can be much more powerful than just bringing reporting and numbers together. It can really be about optimizing the way that you do these, and it can be hard. I know that it can be hard because these channels sometimes live in different parts of your organization, but please bring us in, and we'd love to be partners with you in helping show even teams that you don't work with that manage some of these other channels, how we can help take it all to the next level. And to help us do that is what I think is one of the best client services and client partner organizations in the industry. And Ted introduced Suzanne a little bit earlier. I'd like her to come up now and talk a little bit more about how she sees the partnership that we're building with you and how we can take that to the next level. Thank you.
Which goes forward. So good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to have some time with you today. Very funny, in joining Kenshoo, I did a lot of research as to what this company was all about and what made it great. I love the technology. I love the fact that we are on a journey about the connected customer and the fact that our customers act in very different ways, and the platform that we've built is just a phenomenal platform. But when all was said and done, I joined because of you. I had the opportunity to reach out to a few of you, one of you in the room, and ask you what's special about this company. And what was fascinating, it wasn't the technology. It was the insight and the people. And something that you said was, it's a caring advantage, that you felt that when we did business with you, that we actually took the time to listen, engage, and understand your business challenges. And then you gave me some advice. You said, do something different. We're on a journey where our worlds are colliding, social and search, and what our clients are asking from us is changing faster than we can figure out sometimes our strategy. Our jobs are getting more difficult. So we would like your client organization to be trusted advisors, to help us understand how every day you can give us leading advantage, not just by telling us about features and functionalities and all the things that we are developing for you because you're telling us what we need to do to give you automation, but how do you activate it through all the people who are in my organization touching the tools. So with that, I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to have this role, to be part of this company, and to be part of your journey. It is going to be an amazing journey because this is change at the speed of innovation. Information, I love anybody who's got a name where you can be like one name, like I'm never going to just be Suzanne. You know, Pablo, I loved him, but when I think about how he was thinking about data and information and where it was going, that's our world. That's what we do all the time. It is about the fact that, you know, data is going to be coming in at us in social networks that we've not even contemplated yet. I came from Salesforce. We talked a lot about machine language, machine learning, the Internet of Everything, the signal to noise. Taking machine language coming into search platforms, into social platforms, is a paradigm that's coming at us. We've got to be prepared to take voices and signal to noise in ways that we've not thought about before. So I'm loving that I get to be here on this journey. I look at your success as our goal. It's our shared journey. We are not successful in anything unless you meet your business goals. So I look at it, and the conversations that we're going to be having with you are around, out of day one, what is your business journey? What are your desired outcomes? Measuring success through adoption, through logins, through data usage are just data points. Measuring it through KPIs. How do you make your clients more successful? How do you optimize that spend so that you've got first mover advantage? How do you start changing the world so that you can actually take advantage of an emerging trend because the weather changed, because shopping campaigns are different in different regions of the world? How do you become a one-to-many organization? So the Client Success Organization is on a journey with you as well to be relevant, not just in what we're offering, what we're selling, and what we're doing, but also in providing you insight. Metrics that look forward, not just metrics that look back. We all do quarterly business reviews, and in those reviews, we tell you how you did. We want to have the goals with you to look at what do you want to do next, and are we optimizing with you? Yesterday, I had the opportunity to sit in at the advisory board, the Direct Advertisers Advisory Board, and I don't know if I was surprised or disappointed that, you know, we went around the room and we said, how many of you are using our intent-driven audiences? And a few hands went up. And how many of you are taking advantage of what we're doing with Halogen? And a few hands went up. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what are we not doing in providing you the tools and the insight and the information so that these are things that enable your business to be great? And, you know, it's a lofty goal to say, I want to make you great. But in that, I believe we get to build loyalty and a direction with you. So this goes to the insights. And we're working on some things across the leadership team and across our own data sets. We've got a huge, rich data set on what you do, how you use this. And unfortunately, I don't think we've been using it well enough to tell you how you're acting so that you can get better. So one of the things that we're working on are some new things around customer success metrics tools and dashboards that we'll share with you that will give you early warning indicators, or actually early insight advantage, so that you can do something different and better. So looking forward, it is about the things that we're talking about, intelligence. Intelligence so that we work with you to make sure that you're optimizing your spend, your markets, your search profiles, your journey as you are either assisting clients if you're an agency and or doing it directly if you're a direct advertiser in a way that allows you to be actionable. Actionable in how you monetize this and also how you do cost avoidance. There is a real big thing that's happening in the search and the social world as well, as far as voices that happen in blogs, voices that are asking for help. On Facebook, people who will go in and say, I lost my luggage on United Airlines, or you broke my guitar. That creates a customer service environment that is a huge cost avoidance, customer loyalty, and turnaround opportunity that a lot of companies still haven't thought about monetizing. You know, that's a concept that we're going to be working with you and thinking about. And then it's predictability. If I know, how fast can I act? If I've got the tools, how smart am I in doing these with you? And the conversations that the Client Excellence Organization wants to have is the conversations that allow you to ask those questions in advance of something happening. Can I be a foreseer of the future that allows me, as anybody sitting in this room or anybody on your team, to act smarter, faster? Our journey to excellence surrounds you with things long before you make a decision on what you're going to do next. And it starts off when you first have that conversation of why Kenshoo. If you're new to us, I really thank you for your trust. If you have been with us for a while, I thank you for the journey that you've been on already. But it starts off with our marketing messaging. It starts off with what we say we're going to do, and then us making sure that we educate you as to what's possible. We use our research organization to talk about what's plausible, and then we look at the product organization to build the things that matter. Yesterday I sat in the advisory board with Will, and you talked about the enormous amount of hours that we spend in making sure that we take care of plumbing for you. The plumbing are the Google pipes and the engines, whether it's Google, Facebook, Twitter. You know, there's ones that you might have that we also interact with and engage with. But the product team also, in addition to building features and functionalities of things that make your jobs easier, also spend time making sure that the pipes and the engines are clear. And what was it? For Google last year, you spent how many hours on?
Over 1,000 days.
1,000 days. Okay, that's older than me. Okay, not really. Anyway, but then from the client services organization, we pick up when it is time for us to come in and look at the decision that you're making. Are you going to be bringing in a new feature or functionality? Are you going to be adding some new areas that you need us to help you on? Adoption is more than just bringing you on board. It goes on and on. One of the things that I look at is are you using all the capabilities that we've got? That is my definition of adoption. When I complete this sentence, you're using them and they make a difference to your outcomes. The other thing is our solution engineering organization. That's our SEs that in the beginning are setting up the criteria of your value success, and we're continuing to paradigm that as we're going forward in client services and excellence around customer lifecycle value. And that's where I'll be coming to you and asking for help and asking for insight as to how do you measure customer lifecycle value? How do you prevent churn in your customers and your organizations? How do you help them take advantage of the new things that you're bringing to market? And then how do we create stickiness and loyalty over time? The account executives that you've been working with, the account managers, the account directors, Fiona Gill, who has been so fabulous in leading this organization for the last couple of years. When I've done roundtables with them, their care and their love for you is huge. They have said the things that have broken their hearts the most times is if they've had to disappoint you because we didn't get in front fast enough. So they are looking at how we can build better predictive tools to have the right conversations with you, going wide and deep into the whole paradigm of where you're going. So you'll hear us talk to you. If we're search specialists, we're also going to be learning how we can be much more relevant in helping you understand how to bring the social side in to your paradigms. And then, of course, we've got the onboarding and tech support organization. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the leadership organization that is already here. They are here in this room with us, and the reason I show this is I want to make sure that you see their picture, just in case they don't get a chance to reach out to each of you. But what we've built, and you know, I get to take advantage of the groundwork that's been already put into place, but we've built an organization that is not just a US-based organization that's serving you from afar. We have started putting the resources in the various geos of the world because we also realize that there's an intimacy of how to do business in Brazil is very different than what we've got to do in Germany, and the conversations that we've got to have in the right languages, and the context we've got to have as far as how your clients act requires that we start diversifying where we're at. And so we started building this, and this is the best of the leadership team. They lead then our client account manager organizations and our soon-to-be added client success technologists that we're bringing that are going to be just a little bit deeper in what we're doing. And I've also had the opportunity to start building out what I call advocates and experts to the organization. So there's 3 people on this page that are going on a new journey with us. And we've opened up a client excellence and advocacy office. So that's a really fancy term for these people are going to be strategists and experts to help us understand in various vertical markets and or areas that we want to go deep in what you're thinking about. So for example, I was talking with Ted earlier today, the travel industry and market is a very interesting market. Your challenges in what you're doing, how you optimize, where you go, what your competition is, how you use us and how you use our competitors is definitely a unique thing that we need to get our heads around. So we've got some people who really understand Kenshoo very well, and this is one of the areas we're going to ask them to go wide and deep. We'll embed them for a while with you. We might even help you set out a little bit of your long-term roadmap of where you want to go. But I've added 3 people, and so that's Michael, Ryan, and Christine to that organization. They are all very tenured, both in the search and social markets as well as Kenshoo members. And this was a great ask and a great gift to be able to bring them into this new role. Our onboarding organization has seen a 140% increase in the last year as far as new clients that we brought forward. And we've also been able to see in the clients that we brought forward our ability to scale differently. So again, under Fiona's leadership and then also Sushil's leadership, we were able to go much further in developing some very predictable ways and better checklists, better ways that we are doing this so that in our discovery, we might ask you a heck of a lot more questions as you're beginning to do something, but that's so that we never disappoint you once we get started. So you're going to see we're going to continue there. And yesterday was also a great day for Kenshoo. Terry Foley, who's been with us about a year now, came in, and we asked her to revision what our Kenshoo U experience could be, what our university experience could be. And for any of you that came in and put your teams through certification, you might have noticed that had a lot of great things, but sometimes wasn't necessarily intuitive on what we were going to do. So we've developed learning paths, we've developed a lot more videos, we've developed certification programs that also have multiple levels. We believe that there is a badge of honor in Kenshoo certifications, and we also want to make it easier for you to also make sure that as you're bringing team members to your teams, that we're taking on the role of education in a way that enables you to teach them your business while we teach them some of the tools and technology. So great stuff there. Go to look at us on www.kenshoo.com, and you'll see some of the new interfaces. So we look forward to seeing you there. Product-centric focus is a way that we've grown up because we started off in search, and we got very deep in it. We're never going to lose that thread. But as we think about our client-centric focus, we're thinking about your life cycle. We're thinking about how do we value you as a client of ours, but how do you also value your client base over a life cycle period? So we're looking to find ways to optimize your investments with your customers and also be really diligent in asking you the tough questions. Are you changing fast enough? So as we do our reviews with you, instead of the rigor of just a quarterly business review, you're going to find we're going to have shared dashboards where we're going to be showing you how you're using things and maybe asking you, if you've got 23 people that are on the system, how come we're only seeing 5 active? There's a scorekeeping that's a balance that can help you get better, and we want to be that mensch on your shoulder that you look at as a gift, not as somebody who's just saying, what have you done for us lately? Unique scorecards, scorecards that are tied to your KPIs in your business. This is a work in development, and again, it's not going to be the same. It's not a cookie cutter. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a very specific client conversation that we have with you. And also what we want to do in here is understand where you want to go. We've got an amazing research organization. I'm so impressed by them. Modi, who is standing over here, you got to wave, Modi. I now get to refer to him as my teddy bear. It happened last night. I was not drinking, I promise. I was Diet Coke all night long. But this man has got a passion for insights for you that is humbling. I spent an hour with him, and I felt like I'd gone to college. So it was great. But the research organization of this organization is thriving for information on giving you that advantage. And so our goal in the Client Excellence Organization is to bridge some of those conversations and bring some of the best of that thinking to you. And then I'm going to close with the total value. The total value of our organizations and the total value of our relationships is process, tools, technology, and people. How do we bring all of this together so that also you look at us, and when it is time to make that decision, where do I invest next? Who do I trust that's going to take me on the next journey? That we have earned that right with you to take you on that, and also to ask you to be our alphas, to ask you to be our betas, to tell us when we are not necessarily the prettiest girl in the room, but definitely somebody who's going to get the job done. This is a partnership. So I start where I finished. and I finish where I start. I'm thankful every day for the opportunity to be part of this great company and to be part of your success. So with that, I'll hand it over.